Welcome back to Recovery This Week. I'm Damon Frank,
And I'm Shauna McKenna Vick.
and this is the week of August 26th,
August
the last
26th.
week
I
before
can't
Labor
believe
Day.
it.
Stop
Cannot
working
even
hard,
believe
Shauna.
it's almost September.
I
Well,
am
it's a
actually having a weird thing with time and dates now, like with dates,
Oh,
aren't
tell me
you?
about it because I'm having a weird thing too. So what's your weird thing?
Everything is in warp speed.
Yes.
I feel everything is in warp speed.
Yes. My father
Crazy.
said that it's like things are being compressed. Time is being compressed. Like there's something going on that is compressing time.
I believe that is true. I hate to get all conspiratorial here because this
That's
isn't
okay.
this isn't late night with Art Bell, this is,
Uh-huh.
recovery this week. But I do believe that there is a quickening. I do feel that things are speeding up and crazy. Like I even forget what day it is sometimes. It's things are moving so fast.
Okay, so I always forget what day it is, so that's not a good indicator for me. I always have to check my planner or my watch or whatever. So the ones that really get me are when I think it's Thursday and it's Wednesday, and so I call it with Thursday. I've even gotten on conference calls on Thursday. I called my psychiatrist once and sat in a Zoom waiting room, and she's like, "Shauna, your appointment's tomorrow." Like, okay.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You know what? I always go back to my calendar, maybe because it's a control issue. And I
Hmm.
also, it was weird because I was at a meeting last night, and I told you, I think I told you I started to do this virtual drop the rock meeting with my buddy
Okay.
Chris. So
Yes,
shout
you
out to
mentioned it.
him.
Yeah, I love that
So
book. Drop the Rock and Drop the Rock, The Ripple Effect. Great books.
it's great, and I don't always agree with everything that's in it. I'm gonna go right up front. But
Oh,
we were
that's a
talking,
surprise, Damon. That's a
yeah, I
big
know, I
surprise
know.
to me.
It's not that I don't agree with everything that's in it. I don't agree with the perspective on everything because I think certain things have changed since they written that book. But overall, phenomenal, like letting go. It's really a book about letting go. And I don't know if you read the book Letting Go.
No,
Great
I
book.
haven't read the book Letting
Yeah,
Go, but gosh, I think I need to read more about letting go. I tend to hang on to things and then I get into fear and stuff. So let's talk. Why don't we talk about letting go?
I like that because we're both in that, we both have kids and we're in
Hmm.
that back to school time. I'm a couple years ahead of you because I have
Yes.
a sophomore in college. So we're doing the letting go, not in the home thing, right? And you're doing the letting go, what, senior year, I think?
Junior year for
Junior year.
which
Oh my
which I
God.
have no idea how she became a junior because I'm sure she was an infant just moments ago. But a junior, like I remember starting freshman year and that was okay, but junior year came upon us very quickly.
You know what? It's what I think when you see it through your experience with other people
Hmm.
the whole time and letting go, I think these are kind of tied in and roll with me for a second here, Shauna, about
Okay.
why I think that these are tied in. Is that I think a lot of recovery is perspective. Is that like, because we were talking in this Drop the Rock meeting that like we were talking about fully letting go, because in the program of Alcoholics Anonymous or other 12-step things, I want to quote them directly because it's from there,
Hmm.
is that there's a whole thing about are you fully ready to let go
Hmm.
of your shortcomings, of character defects, right? So we're talking sixth and seventh step primarily. We're talking
Hmm.
about Alcoholics Anonymous. And that whole idea, I remember back decades ago of when I first did this and said, well, I don't know if I'm fully ready to like, what does that
Well,
mean?
what does that mean? But why wouldn't you be, right? I have the other perspective of, oh my gosh, take everything, take all my things, letting go. But then I forgot or didn't realize that that act of letting go of certain character defects, I actually had to do some work. So if like gossip is one of mine, and I've really prayed to have that one let go. So if someone is starting to talk about someone, I have to pivot the conversation. So
Yeah.
because I have let go of that. I have wanted to let go of that. It's one I want to hang on to. Like if it's really juicy news, I want to like ask more questions and dig into it. But I know that, if someone is not present, I am not entitled to have a conversation about someone if they are not present with me. And so I yes, I want them to be let go, but it doesn't mean they magically disappear. But that's from a character defect perspective or the 12 step perspective. But what does it mean to let go and let God or let the universe happen? Or how do you actually let go of your concerns and worries and stuff?
Well,
That's what I'd like you to weigh in on.
it's interesting because I think this is this is several parts to this. I don't think you
Hmm.
could take one part, say just letting go. Like, why won't you let go? Because really, if you're just going to boil it down and make it simple, it would be are you entirely ready to let go, right?
Right.
Of these, meaning without reservation, right? Now, I think that that's unrealistic in life in general. And I think maybe if they were to redo these, they would maybe use that terminology because I
Okay.
think it's at the moment, have you done as much as you can to let go? Everybody, look, I mean, there's this whole thing about letting go absolutely doesn't mean that you don't have reservations or fear. And
Hmm.
I think that this is where people get a little tied up with it, Shauna, is that they feel that, well, now that I've let go and I fully accept that, I'm going to not have any anxiety or thoughts around how it might be different. And I don't think that's correct necessarily. I think it's just human nature.
Oh, but we're not supposed to be in worry and anxiety. And if we've truly let go and say, okay, God, you take care of this, I'll leave the results in your hands and let go, then I have to also let go of the fear and anxiety.
Yes, but that is a but here's what I'm going to say about it. This is interesting because there were several people that had long-term sobriety at this meeting that
Hmm.
I went to, and everybody said the exact same thing, is that in early sobriety, my letting go was primarily because of external situations. When my ass was on fire, it
Uh-huh.
seemed just rational to let go. Like, okay, I'm going to stop getting drugged by the horse. I'm going to let go because I really have no choice because I'm going to get trampled to death. Now, did I have reservations about? Yes, I did. Did I have anxiety about it? Yes. Did it work? Yes, because at the time I let go as much as I could. And
Hmm.
here's the key. It's not just letting go, it's also willingness. If you're unwilling
Hmm.
and you let go, you're not really letting go. Being
Right.
willing, hey, I'm willing to let go and I'm willing to say, look, it might be painful. I might have second thoughts about this. I might not want to do this. I might feel not okay with this, but I'm willing to go through all of that. Not that I'm not going to feel it, but I'm willing
Right. No, we're still going to feel it for sure. Yes.
because there
So,
is no change. There is no change without willingness. You
right.
can have as much desire as you want, but if you're not willing, like I'd like my
You're
life to
not
be
willing,
different.
and there's no change without action as well, because you can have
Yeah.
every intention in the world. You can be willing and have every intention in the world, but then on the backside, you've got to take some action for stuff too. So if we're letting go of things, um, it means not obsessing about them or changing that pattern of thought or calling another person in recovery and asking them how their day is going. So we're getting out of self. Those are actual actions to help let go.
But my definition of letting go now
Yes.
and my experience with letting go now is different than it was. I may be more ready to let go of certain things. Right. And it's funny. I don't know if you saw this ever, but when we first started the show, I had a PhD neuroscientist on named Stacy Danford.
Hmm.
And just a caveat, she's not in alcohol and drug recovery, but
Right.
she's in recovery from other things. And she grew up with people, and she says this on the, I'm not, outing her, she says this on the episode. But she talks about how the term character defects hold us back from a neuroscience standpoint. And
Because it's negative.
it is. And I'll tell you, one of the big breakthroughs I've had, and maybe this is a cop out, and you could totally call me on this if you want, is I kind of, when I'm talking about letting go of certain things, I stop saying character defects.
Hmm.
That was a game changer for me. You know why? Because I stopped trying to make things right or wrong, yes or no, black and white. I
Hmm.
made them no longer working for me. I'm letting go of this because it's no longer, instead
No
of like,
longer working. It's
this
no
is
longer
bad.
serving me.
Yes. Yes, right. I don't know if you've had that experience. And because what is a character defect, that can be very blurry as you start chipping them off the list. Yes, if you're stealing stuff, character defect. If you're right, there's certain things that are glaring character defects,
Mhm.
right? And then there's things that are like, and I'm going to share with you something personal.
So
I
character
grew up,
challenges, or like I'd love to change it to a different word, not because I'm softer, but areas of growth for me, of letting go of these certain areas that hold me back and they're no longer serving me, or they don't serve me. They don't serve anyone. Say, I mentioned gossip. I mentioned, like for me, it's control, wanting to control outcomes. Those are things I am willing to let go of because they only drive me more nuts. The control thing, the gossip thing, I don't want to do harm to anybody by speaking about them behind. So I'm willing to let go of those things. And, in your language, something that no longer is working for me, or something that I no longer want to work, right? Like I no longer want to invest in gossip, in these things that impact me negatively.
yeah. And I think, I'm going to share something really personal here. And
Okay.
I'll tell you where I started to have a breakthrough of this. So and I've shared a lot of times on the show, I had an alcoholic parent and I went through certain things. And if you grow up in an alcoholic household, you realize very quickly to anticipate what the hell is going to go wrong and
Mm-hmm.
to be able to maneuver around it very quickly. You
Right.
have to anticipate. Okay. But to say, I'm letting that go because it's a character defect. Well, hey, man, it was an asset. I wouldn't be here
Yes,
if I didn't have that friggin'
absolutely.
asset. And so what happened is with me is there were certain things that I say, okay, yeah, I'm going to let go of that because it's a character defect. The reality is the situation is it's not really a defect, a plus or a negative. It worked for me then because I needed to have it.
Mhm.
I did. And there's no denying that. But now that no longer serves me. I no
Right.
longer
I
need
can see that. I can
that.
see that now. Yes.
Okay. And
I
so now
understand your
that no longer
definition
works for
now.
me. Yeah. Like
And when
people
I'm
that have
working,
trauma
go ahead.
too. It's the same thing. I'm just going to say people that have trauma, it worked for them when they were in that trauma situation. It doesn't work for them now.
Right. I, it was explained to me once that not every defect or everything opposite of an asset. It says in the book that we're willing to let go of these good and bad, right? Because there are good aspects. Like for me, my control, when I'm only trying to control my daily life and be disciplined, that's not a bad use of control. Like it's not always bad. Not every character defect is always bad, some parts of it, but the bad parts are the ones that no longer serve me. But I agree with you when you said, growing up and being able to anticipate when things are going. I used to work in software and I was working with a consultant, and he said the best people to hire as consultants are adult children of alcoholics, because they can anticipate anything and they can read a room, they can walk in and read a room perfectly.
Yep.
And it's
100%.
true, because I was so successful at what I did because I could read the whole room, and then I could change how I was speaking, how I was what, like I could tell if someone was irritated, I knew exactly how to deal with them. If someone was elated, and I would change my behavior to match them. But I just love that because he said, or someone in Al-Anon. And I thought, oh my gosh, that is brilliant. So they're not all bad.
No. Well, what I do is I took out, it's interesting. Somebody told me years ago, right and wrong is not a spiritual solution. Making something right or wrong does not make it is not a solution spiritually. Okay. And when you said control, I'd even challenge you on that because
Mhm.
as going deeper in that, it's not the control. I think the most amazing thing in the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous, one of the most amazing lines that I've ever seen in all literature, is lack of power was our dilemma. It's not
Mhm.
control. It's that we have no personal power to be able to change it. And
We have
this
no
is the
personal power to
crux.
be able to stop
Yeah.
drinking. None.
It's
Zero.
not even control. It's not even necessarily that we want to control people, because I think when people say control, they're like, well, I want this person to do this and that person to do that. It's that we lack our own personal power to change key things. And so we project that outward on people, places, and things. It really has nothing to do with people, places, and things. It has to do with our own lack of power. Right. And I know that's kind of wordism. It's a little word salad. But when you go deeper, that's what I found. It is lack of power is our dilemma.
Right. Lack of power. But that specifically in the book about lack of power was our dilemma. Lack of power to stop drinking. We were powerless over our alcohol, and we had to, was powerless over alcohol and became, oh my gosh.
Okay. Yeah. I do that all the
Like,
time.
I read the
It's the
steps
power to
every
change
day.
it. It's the power to change it. Right. So it's like that. But the key here's what I want to talk about to ask you, because I think this is so critical. Letting go, being fully ready to let go, and then lack of power, control, right?
Mm-hmm.
How does this work now that you're sober? Because see, I get it. Like when you're first in recovery and you're trying to stay sober, and every day you wake up and you go, I don't know, man. Like, I don't know about you. Like, I do start the day with who knows what could happen, and I'm asking for another day sober. So I'm in
Right.
that time frame right when I wake up, right? That's the first thing I do. But
Same.
I will be honest, I don't wake up today going, well, I don't know if I'm going to make it till noon without taking a
Oh,
drink. I don't,
no.
right?
No. No, I
I've
don't
been
either.
relieved from that, thank God. So it's like, how does that play out in your life? Like we were just talking about kids, is this lack of power, this letting go? How does that play out subtly in your life and either help or detour from your sobriety on a day-to-day basis?
Well, there's quite a few things, right? So I often deal with fear of financial insecurity, and I have to let that go. So what I do is I have my own words that I have to say, almost like my mantras, whatever. Like, okay, I'm letting this go. God, you take care of it. I leave the results in your hands. I am not responsible for the results. I'm responsible for the action. What action can I take right now? And it might be making a few more marketing phone calls. It might be following up on something I had done. But if I do today's next right action, then I can let go of the results because I'm responsible for the action. God's responsible for the results. Now, in my day-to-day life, today was a difficult day. I sent my 16-year-old off to school. It's a very big school. She came in without knowing anybody, and it's been very difficult to make friends. COVID ruined it for these kids. They don't know how to make friends or relate. So she has been quite lonely the last couple of years. She seems to be okay at school, but in the evenings, and so I'd been praying all summer that, she would meet someone, a friend that she could connect with or click with or have more than one class with, because that's part of it too. And in her school, they only have 4 classes a semester. So you're only meeting 4 groups of kids. And I could have ruminated on it all day and spun myself up. But instead, every time I thought about it, I said, okay, God, you take care of her. You've got a plan for her life. She's going to be fine. I mean, she is the most resilient child ever, right? And I'm so grateful for that because she just bounces right back. Like if today wasn't a great day, tomorrow's going to be a great day. And she bounces up and like, I'll be like, can I drive you to school? No, I'm taking the bus. Like she loves to take the bus. She loves to go to school. And yet if it were me, Damon, I would be like, can I please just be homeschooled? Because I'm not going to fight this again. But she has this gift that maybe today it's going to happen. Maybe today I'll connect with someone. Maybe she doesn't think about it as much
I
as
love
I think
that.
about it because I'm her mom.
Okay, let me just tell you, boom, you're hitting on it, because this is how I think it plays out. Because when it was all about us, we were drinking, like I said, the first spiritual awakening I had
Uh-huh.
beyond, oh my God, I'm an alcoholic, was, oh my God, it's not all about me. I remember
Right.
that it's not all about me. Right.
Oh,
And that was a
shocker.
huge thing. And but when that happens in recovery, if you're listening to this, you're going to get it. When that happens, then you have a kid that's on steroids now. And I'm
Yeah.
totally with you. And I've met your daughter just to testify. She is
Yeah.
that person, total dynamo, will be successful no matter what she does, right? No matter where you put her, she's going to be successful. But I will tell you, I'm going through that now with the kid all the way across the country.
Mm-hmm.
But we don't see, very tight knit family. The three of us
Right.
did everything together. And like, the kid says to me, like, when she leaves, she goes, it wouldn't be so bad if you guys weren't so great. Like, and I'm like, oh my God, this is good. Like,
Oh,
I
that's
scored,
awesome.
right? She's like, we
Yeah.
have fun. It's not like I'm running to try to get out of here, right? Like,
Right.
and not that she doesn't love her experience where she's at now, too, right? But being able to separate is to understand, is like to be able to listen. See, I
Mm-hmm.
think you're an advantage because you're a woman. Guys want to just solve everything. So I like
Mm-hmm.
hearing, I'm like, okay, I'm going to solve it with this. I'm going to get Postmates. I'm going to have that delivered. I'm going to solve it. So as a guy, I want to just solve things and I want to just get it over with, right? That is, and I'm not alone. I know other guys are like this too. I'm stereotyping. Not everybody's like this, obviously.
Okay, I'm really like that too because
I
I've
am. I
always
want it
had
just
to
done.
take action. Right.
Yes.
So I've had to slow down as a mom. And so this is a gift of sobriety for me. Okay. That I can slow down, be present to my daughter, be outside of me and my selfish self-focusedness, focus on her and anticipate what is it that she needs right now? How does she need me to show up in the world right now? To listen, to solve, to give comfort. So, that to me, like I have been able to be there for her this week when she's almost about to get emotional because she still stuffs her emotions, but almost about to be emotional and be able to anticipate that and read that. That is a gift of sobriety and being able to be out of myself and not wanting to control. So, yeah, I will leave you with this one thing. We had a lot of words today, like a lot of words. I'm
Yeah.
like Pooh
Yeah.
Bear, big words bother me, right? Or Christopher Robin. But I had a sponsor once explain this to me, and it really made sense. What does it really mean to let go? Okay, so we have rip tides here off the coast of North Carolina. People get caught in them and they die. Okay. So if you think of your life and you're entering a riptide, you're worrying about something, you're anxious, you're whatever, you could die. It could go horribly wrong for you, right? There could be a lot of chaos. Whereas the recommendation is, and this isn't like government recommendation, don't try this, but this is what they say. Go with it. Go with the flow. Let go. Let it take you out. And what will happen is the riptide will take you out to sea. You'll come back and you'll land somewhere else, completely different than where you were. But that's what I think of letting go, is that my plan is always, let's do it this way, this way, this way. Then I'm running into like it's crash course. I'm on a collision course, right? I'm in this riptide. Whereas if I would let go and say, okay, God, you've got this, I may show up in a different place, but I'll be alive. There won't be any
Yeah.
chaos, and so that I think of just letting go and going in the riptide and then
Well,
coming around and
I
landing.
think you have it right. And I think it was interesting because in this meeting that I was with, that how many people suffered from being able to let go and then letting go and then having the thought the next day is, I'm not doing enough in my life. And the whole thing is, the hardest part for me is to do nothing. One of the biggest lessons I've learned, to wrap it up with this, is that one of the hardest spiritual lessons that I've learned, and just personal lessons that I've learned, is that the action of doing nothing is typically the right action a lot of the
Mm-hmm,
times. Is
mm-hmm,
not fighting,
mm-hmm.
but not doing anything. Like literally not taking any action, because
Right.
I suffer from actionitis. I'll take
Mm-hmm.
so much action, then I'll become resentful that I'm taking all this action and things aren't, why, how come God hasn't relieved it? It's been 15 minutes. If you're not going to step in, God, I'm going to have to take the lead. Right. You know what I mean? And just to do nothing. Right.
Sometimes listening is the action. My therapist told me that. I spend more time in prayer and
action.
meditation, and that is taking an action. Do you know that?
Yes. Oh,
Listening
big
and
time.
meditation, right?
Absolutely.
That's an action.
Yeah.
So
Being
sometimes
present.
you're exactly right. Do nothing. Sit and listen to God.
This
All
has been
right.
a great. This has been a great one. This is gonna be great. We're gonna hit you next week with another deep thought. Everybody, go out, live your best
Another
recovered
deep
life.
thought. That's what we'll call them. Deep thoughts with Damon and
And
Shauna.
the moral,
And-
the moral of the lesson: stay out of the friggin' riptides.
Right.
That
Stay out
is
of the
what you should
riptides.
gather from this.
Stay out of the riptides. And next week we'll be talking about Recovery Month. So, you know, I want our listeners to think about what they're going to do for Recovery Month.
I'm staying sober. That's what I'm going to do for Recovery Month.
Okay, well, I'm staying sober. I might put something up on Facebook. I do, you know, on social media, whatever. Draw awareness. Anyway, I'll see you, Damon.
Special
Have a great
recovery
one.
episode. Special Recovery Month episode. Okay, guys, I'll talk to you soon.
Every one of
Bye.
our episodes are special. Bye.
Hey, if you like this episode, think about supporting us by becoming a Recovered Life Plus member. At Recovered Life TV, we're not just delivering premium recovery resources, we're empowering you with the knowledge and tools that make a real difference in the quality of your recovery. By subscribing, you gain access to ad-free content, expert insights, exclusive video and audio segments, special projects, plus so much more, all while supporting our mission to spread the recovery message far and wide. Whether you're seeking to deepen your understanding or stay updated on the latest addiction and mental health recovery trends, Recovered Life Plus is for you. Subscribe now and start living your best recovered life. Just go to recoveredlife.tv and become a Plus member today.